Hi Ava, how are you doing today? Here you go, Ava. Everybody, welcome in. We are doing the name writing on sand. Let's go, guys. Get your names done. Next, we've got is Yalari. Welcome back. Everybody, hit that subscribe button, guys, and like the live and drop your names. All right, next, we've got is River in the chat. How are you, River? Here you go, River. Have a nice day. Who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. We've got is Skylin in the chat. All right, let's go for Skylin. Here you go, Skylin. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber that we have is. All right, I see Judah in the chat. How are you, Judah? Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Judah. Next we have is. All right, I see Cameron in the chat. Thank you, Cameron. Here you go, Cameron. And next we've got a Cinnamon in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. All right, let's go for Cinnamon here. Here you go, Cinnamon. Have a nice day. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys, and get your names done. All right, who do we have next, guys? All right, then I see is who's that? Thank you so much, everybody. Please hit that like button and get your names done, guys. Ivy in the chat. All right, Ivy. Let's go for Ivy here. Here you go, Ivy. How are you guys doing today, guys? Everybody, let's go, guys. Hit that subscribe button, like the live, and get your names done. Who do we have next, guys? Welcome in, everybody. All right, then we've got is Devila. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Devila. Here you go. Your name has been done, Devila. Have a nice day. All right, just give me 1 second, everybody. All right, let's go, guys. Connor in the chat. How are you, Connor? Thank you so much for subscribing. Here is your name, and it is done. Have a nice day. Who do we have next, guys? Welcome in. Thank you so much for saying that. I love you all too, guys. Everybody get your names done, guys. Welcome to my live. Hit that subscribe button and get your names done. Welcome to my live, everybody. Let's go. Cash in the chat. How are you, Cash? I hope you're doing amazing today. Here you go, Cash. Next I see is Yona in the chat. Let's go for Yona. All right, Yona, here you go. Your name is done, Yona. Have a nice day. Next, who do I see, guys? Jayla in the chat. How are you, Jayla? Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Jayla. Have a nice day, Jayla. All right, who do we have next, guys? Everybody hit that subscribe button. Let's start our live. Brooke in the chat. Here you go, Brooke. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Here you go, Brooke. Have a nice day. Everybody, let's go, guys. Kiana, I see Kiana. All right, let's go for Kiana now. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Kiana. Here is your name, and it's done. All right, next subscriber, everybody. Let's go, guys. And we've got Noah. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Noah. Here you go, Noah. Have a nice day, Noah. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Welcome in. I see is Forrest in the chat. All right, Forrest, let's go for you. Hey, go Forrest. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. All right, next subscriber. Who do we have, guys? I see Dio in the chat. Let's go for Dio. All right, here you go, Dio. Have a nice day. All right, who do we have next, everybody? All right, I see Yazin in the chat. Thank you, Yazin, for subscribing. Here you go, Yazin. Have a nice day. Who do we have next, guys? Everybody, welcome in. I see April in the chat. Let's go for April. All right, April, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking. liking. All right, here you go. Next subscriber, Gabby in the chat. All right, Gabby, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day today. Let's go for it, Gabby. Here you go, Gabby. Have a nice day. Next subscriber that we have is Noor in the chat. Thank you, Noor, for liking and subscribing. Let's go. Here you go, Noor. Your name is done. All right, who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. Just give me 1 second, everybody, and I'm gonna start in like, I guess, 2 seconds from now. Let's begin, guys. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys, and let's go. Emily in the thank you, Emily, for me. And then my next subscriber is Aaron in the chat. How are you, Aaron? Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Aaron. Have a great day. All right, and then the next subscriber that I see is, who is that? Everybody, come on in. Drop your names, guys, and get it done. Let's go, guys. Next I see is Nutink. Thank you, Nuting. Am I pronouncing it right? Here you go, Nuting. I'm sorry if I'm not. Here you go. Who do we have next, guys? Everybody get your names done. Welcome to my live. All right, then who do we have next, everybody? Welcome in, everybody. Get your names done. All right, next subscriber that we have is Matilda. All right, Matilda, here you go. Have a nice day, Matilda. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Welcome to my live. Get your names done. Eunice in the chat. All right, Eunice. Here you go, Eunice. Your name is done, Eunice. All right, who do we have next, guys? And we've got is Aliana. Aliana, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Aliana. Here you go, Aliana. All right, who do we have next, guys? Everybody welcome in. Get your names done. Aliana, thank you. Next subscriber we've got is Mahdi in the chat. Let's go for Mahdi. Here you go, Mahdi. Have a nice day. All right, who do we have next, guys? Next subscriber that we have is Samara in the chat. All right, Samara, here you go. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Samara. Here you go. Who do we have next, guys? Everybody get your names done, guys. Next subscriber that we have is Isna in the chat. Let's go for Isna. Here you go, Isna. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber that I have is Ayla in the chat. Thank you, Ayla, for subscribing and liking. Have a nice day, Ayla. And then the next subscriber that we have is Omar in the chat. Let's go for Omar. Here you go, Omar. Have a nice day. Who do we have next, everybody? Welcome to my live. All right, next subscriber that we have is, who is that? Castro in the chat. Hi, Castro. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Castro. Who do we have next, everybody? Welcome to my live. Get your names done, guys. And then I see is Harley in the chat. Here you go, Harley. Have a nice day. And then I see is Tiger in the chat. Thank you, Tiger, for liking and subscribing. Have a nice day. Who else has liked and subscribed, guys? Here you go, Tiger. All right, next name, guys. Everybody, welcome in. Sana in the chat. Thank you, Sana. Let's go for Sana here. Here you go for Sana. Have a nice day, Sana. Next subscriber in the chat is Chloe. Thank you, Chloe. How are you doing today? Here you go. Your name has been done, Chloe. Have a nice day. Next subscriber we've got is William in the chat. All right, William, welcome in. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Here you go, William. Next subscriber, everybody. Who's the next subscriber? Darren in the chat. All right, Darren, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Darren. Here you go. All right, who do we have next, guys? And then I see is Lara. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a nice day, Lara. Who do we have next, everybody? I see is Yusuf in the chat. Thank you, Yusuf, for liking and subscribing. Here you go, Yusuf. And then who do we have next, everybody? I see is Nalani in the chat. All right, Nalani, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Here you go, Nalani. Your name has been done. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Welcome in. I see Tamara in the chat. Thank you for liking and subscribing to me, Tamara. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber that I see is Lena in the chat. All right, Lena, thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Lena. I hope you're having a great day. Here you go, Lena. And then the next subscriber in the chat is, who is that? Welcome in. Oh, okay, then we've got is Jermaine in the chat. All right, let's go for Jermaine. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Jermaine. Welcome to my live. Here is your name and it has been done, Jermaine. Have a nice day. And then we have is Milaja in the chat. Thank you, Milaja. Here you go, Milaja. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber that we have is Nalani. I've done your name. All right, next subscriber, everybody. Let's go, guys. I did it the right way. You can check it. All right, next subscriber we've got is Habiba in the chat. Thank you, Habiba. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a nice day. And then we have is Eva in the chat. Thank you, Eva. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Eva. Have a great day. And then the next subscriber is, who is that? It's Ida in the chat. Thank you, Ida, for liking and subscribing. Is it Ida or Ida? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry. Let's go, guys. Then we've got is Ramin in the chat. All right, Ramin. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Who else has liked and subscribed, guys? Let's go, everybody. Welcome to my live. All right, then we have next is Donna in the chat. How are you, Donna? Glad to see you here. All right, here you go, Donna. Who do we have next, guys? Everybody, please hit that like button and let's go, guys. Here you go, Donna. All right, next subscriber that we have is Shahir in the chat. Thank you, Shahir, for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day, Shahir. Who do we have next, everybody? Then I see is, who is that? Hater in the chat. All right, is that Hater? All right, here you go, Hater. Have a nice day. Who do we have next, everybody? Welcome to my live. Next subscriber, Adana in the chat. All right, Adana, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Here you go, Adana. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber that we have in the chat is Madi in the chat. Is that Madi or is it Maddie? All right, here you go. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. And then the next subscriber that we have is Jade. Is that Jade Mary? Is that Jade Mary? All right, here you go, Jade Mary. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. All right, who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. I see Liam in the chat. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Liam. Have a nice day, Liam. All right, who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. I see is Rafaela in the chat. Thank you, Rafaela. All right, here you go, Rafaela. Who do we have next, guys? Everybody welcome in. Drop your name in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and get your names done. All right, next subscriber we have is Anais in the chat. All right, Anais, here you go. Have a nice day, Anais. Who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. I see Damien. All right, let's go for Damien. Here you go for Damien. Have a great day, Damien. Who do we have next, everybody? Next subscriber that I see is Zach in the chat. All right, let's go for Zach. Here you go, Zach. Have a great day. All right, who do we have next, guys? I see is... Who is that? Doa in the chat. All right, Doa, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day, Doa. And then the next subscriber that I see in the chat is Sania in the chat. All right, let's go for Sania. Thank you so much for subscribing. Have a nice day, Sania. All right, and then the next subscriber that I see is... Who is that? I see Faze in the chat. Just give me a second, everybody. All right, it's much better now. Faze in the chat. All right, Faze. Here you go, Faze. And then the next subscriber that we have is Janice in the chat. How are you, Janice? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Janice. Have a great day. And then the next subscriber that we have is... Who is that? Illington in the chat. All right, Illington. Have a nice day, Illington. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Welcome to my live. I see is Miles in the chat. All right, Miles. Let's go for Miles in the chat. Here you go, Miles. Have a nice day. All right, and then the next subscriber that we have is Wayne in the chat. Thank you, Wayne. Here you go, Wayne. Have a nice day. All right, and then the next subscriber that we have in the chat is Leva. Thank you, Leva. All right, let's go for Leva. Here you go, Leva. Have a nice day. And then the next subscriber in the chat is Adam. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Adam. Here you go. Who else has liked and subscribed? I see is Shata in the chat. Thank you, Shata, for liking and subscribing to me. Here you go, Shata. All right, who do we have next, guys? Everybody welcome in. Get your names done. Next subscriber that I see is Lydia in the chat. All right, Lydia, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Lydia. Here is your beautiful name and it has been done. Next subscriber is... We see is... Who is that? I see Amanda in the chat. Thank you, Amanda. Here you go, Amanda. Have a nice day. All right, next subscriber in the chat is Yusef in the chat. Here you go, Yusef. Here you go. All right, next subscriber we've got is Tahir in the chat. Here you go, Tahir. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day. And then the next subscriber that I see is Jade in the chat. Thank you, Jade. All right, let's go for Jade now. Here you go, Jade. Have an amazing day. Who do we have next, everybody? I see is Ismail in the chat. Thank you so much, Ismail. Here you go. Have a great day. And then the next subscriber that I see is Azaria in the chat. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Azaria. Have a great day. All right, who do we have next, everybody? I see is Misty in the chat. Thank you, Misty, for liking and subscribing to me. All right, Misty, thank you. Here you go, Misty. Thank you. All right, have an amazing day, Misty. Next subscriber in the chat is Caleb. All right, Caleb, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day. Then we have next is Faris in the chat. Let's go for Faris. All right, how are you, Faris? I hope you're having a great day today, Faris. Here you go. All right, next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that? I see Nana in the chat. All right, Nana, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day, Nana. And then the next subscriber in the chat is Joy. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Joy. All right, here you go. Next subscriber name in the chat is Josh in the chat. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Josh. Have an amazing day, Josh. Next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that? I see is Veggie in the chat. Here you go, Veggie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Veggie. And then the next subscriber in the chat is Hannah. How are you, Hannah? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. All right, let's go for Hannah. Who do we have next, everybody? Let's go, everybody. Hit that like and the subscribe button, guys. Let's go. Next subscriber in the chat is Finley in the chat. Hey, go for Finley. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Finley. Who do we have next? Tammy in the chat. All right, Tammy. Let's go for Tammy in the chat. Here you go, Tammy. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a nice day. All right, next subscriber in the chat is Rosie. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Rosie. Here you go, Rosie. Thank you so much. All right, who do we have next, guys? Welcome to my live. Felix in the chat. All right, Felix. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a nice day. Here you go, Felix. Next subscriber in the chat is Berkeley. All right, Berkeley. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Berkeley. Here you go. Your name is almost done. All right. Who do we have next, guys? Welcome in, Behu. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Behu. Here is your name, and it has been done, Behu. Have a great day. Next subscriber in the chat is Verfan. All right, Verfan. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me. Have a great day, Verfan. Next subscriber in the chat is Abby. All right, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Abby. Have a great day. Who do we have next, guys? I see is Cade in the chat. Thank you, Cade, for liking and subscribing to me. Here you go, Cade. Have a nice day. Next subscriber is Kyle in the chat. All right, Kyle, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Kyle. Have a great day. Next subscriber in the chat is Zayden. All right, Zayden, let's go for your name. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Zayden. All right, next subscriber in the chat is Noah. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, dear Noah. Here you go. Your name has been done. Next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that? Zimena. Thank you, Zimena. Thank you so much. Here you go for Zimena. Have a great day, Zimena. All right. Next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that, guys? Adam in the chat. All right, Adam. Here you go, Adam. Thank you so much. All right, next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that, guys? Welcome to my live. All right, that's Dia Mason family. That's too long. I would try it, though. Dia Mason. I can try it. Okay. Here you go, the amazing family. I hope you like it. All right, who do we have next, guys? Let me just make this for your family. Here you go. All right, next subscriber then that we have is Journey in the chat. Thank you, Journey. Here you go for Journey. All right, who do we have next, everybody? Next subscriber that we have is Easton in the chat. All right, Easton, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to me, Easton. Here you go, Easton. Next subscriber in the chat is Hannah. All right, Hannah, thank you so much for subscribing and liking. Hannah, here you go for Hannah. All right, who do we have next, everybody? All right, we have another Hannah, so I will just erase this. Thank you so much, another Hannah. Here you go, you get a heart. All right, next subscriber we have is Maria in the chat. Thank you, Maria, for liking and subscribing to me. Have a nice day, Maria. All right, next subscriber in the chat is... Who is that? Welcome in, Afton. All right, Afton. Let's go for Afton in the chat. Here you go, Afton. Have a nice day. All right, guys, I will go for a break and I'll be back in some time. Have a nice day. Take care. Thank you.